Okay, here's today's check-in, you guys. I'm gonna see if I can keep it short and sweet for myself because I have to teach in less than an hour. But I wanted to show you what I have been up to today. I worked on the heart painting a little bit more, and I did the two things that I had talked about yesterday. So, I'm gonna bring it over. My phone is actually plugged in because it was like down to 10% battery. Oops. So it's gonna stay there. I'll bring this to you. So here it is, and if you look at it closely, let's see if you notice what I've added. Can you tell yet? How about now? So I did two things here. I added some text, and I added some really fine like hairline fine veins with my fine tip permanent marker. So that was really fun. I enjoyed that very much. Apparently I like drawing veins. It's very meditative. I had my music going and I just went to town. So I don't know if you can see them unless I get it really close because they're very fine. But I enjoy when a piece of art works from a distance, but also like when you get rewarded for looking at it up close and you see different features and you notice different details about it, like the background, the drippy paint in the background and the really fine print text, and then the fine lines. So yeah, I really enjoy those details. What can I tell you about the text? It's from a poem that I had written over the summer, and it's sort of related to the imagery here. It's about love and the heart. It's called Fierce Love. Apparently I write poetry. It's still weird to say that because I don't really think I do, but it is a poem, and maybe I'll read it sometime. Maybe not today, but if you want to hear it, then let me know in the comments. I may need a little coaxing. Anyway, I have like fragments of it sort of dispersed throughout, and I wanted it to be subtle. I didn't want it to be too distracting because it's really meant to be more of just like visual texture for the background. So that's why it's so small. I kept it kind of messy too. I sort of embraced like the ink bleed that occurred. And if you're wondering how I did this, I'll show you. Oop, stuck to me. So basically I take the little strips of paper that I print the poem on backwards. So, right, it has to be reversed because then I put it face down on the canvas like that. I'll tape it down, and then I take wintergreen oil. I just bought it on Amazon. You can buy it at a health food store or, Whole Foods, that sort of thing. And, oh, hang on, text message. Move that. And yeah, I get that on like a little Q-tip, and then I just rub the Q-tip over the paper, and it's really cool. As you're doing it, you see the paper become translucent, and then the ink starts to show through. So yeah, so you go over it with the wintergreen oil, and that's what sort of releases the ink from the paper. And I just printed that out on my regular printer, like nothing fancy there. Remember, this is rudimentary in-home printmaking without any fancy chemicals or equipment. So after I get the wintergreen oil all over it, then I take my, I take my burnisher, which is this tool. Nothing fancy, I just happen to have this, I actually held on to it from college, so I was glad that I still had it. And then just sort of run over the paper to press it down, transfers the ink, and then you pull it back and you see the text has transferred. So that's how that works. So I'm going to continue building it. I have two different font sizes here, but they're pretty similar, kind of subtle. So I'm going to get probably at least one bigger font and sort of layer them and just, yeah, see when I feel like it's done. But it was it was a bit of a risk to add the text. I knew that once I added the first little bit, there was really no turning back. So I looked at that as an opportunity to practice courage, since that's one of those the 5 skill areas we're working on, courage. And also, this for me was an exercise in trusting the process and not having it all, just trusting my instinct. I just had this intuitive feeling that I wanted to add text to it. I didn't really have a conceptual reason why, or like a really strong justification for it, which it's a little different than when I made art in college and I had to justify every decision to my professor and, in the artist statement, and also plan it out really well in the proposal. That didn't give me a whole lot of intuitive freedom to make those decisions just when this idea popped into my mind. I mean, to some degree, yes, but anyway, it was just a lot more structured in college, which is good. I mean, that's good training, and I definitely value the conceptual approach to art, but I also just like the visual appeal of adding text for no particular reason. So what was I saying with that? So yeah, just trusting the process, trusting my intuition, and just doing what I want and embracing freedom. I'm not answering to anyone. I don't have to write an artist statement about this. The only person I'm answering to is anyone who's watching these videos. But again, it's very different, so I'm enjoying that freedom. And what else? I was thinking today, I'm gonna put this down. I was thinking today a little bit about how any journey involves potentially some course correcting along the way, and how I think it's important that we don't get too entrenched in one particular approach. If we find that approach isn't working or is leading us kind of off course, not getting us closer to our goal, or if something just really doesn't feel right, on a gut level, then I think we need to have self-awareness to notice that, first of all, right? Self-awareness. That's when we need to practice courage in making a decision to maybe leave that approach aside and try a different approach if that one isn't working. And that's also, I feel related to resilience, right? So if something doesn't work, springing back from that and just knowing, okay, well, that's feedback. That's not working, or I'm not getting the results I want, or it doesn't feel true to me, and it's taking me away from my destination, away from my goal, or just I'm not enjoying it anymore, then we need to give ourselves permission to modify, to adjust, to try a different approach, and use all of that just as feedback, right? It's like a navigational system, hot or cold. Does this feel right? Does this feel true to me? And it can be kind of tricky sometimes, because any new role or any new skill is going to involve some degree of discomfort, but you have to distinguish, and I'm telling myself this more than anything, is this discomfort just because it's new and unfamiliar, or is it because it's not the right approach for me? So that's what I've been thinking about. What else? Let me just look down. I made some notes here. Yeah. So I just wrote here, the route or the route. Route or route? Which way do you pronounce that word? The route may not be clear from the start, or we may take a detour, right? So it's important to be flexible, to not get too entrenched in one approach or tactic, and to be continually or continuously? Gosh, I can't speak English today. Continually sounds right. Reassessing and have that self-awareness to check in with ourselves as we go. And whenever I need guidance or direction, well, number one, I check in with myself, which usually involves like a brain dump or journaling or just thinking. I check in, or I ask for feedback from, trusted friends and family who know me and who I know have my best interests in mind. And then I also, another technique that helps guide me and helps me make decisions is I go back to like my core values. So what are your core values? Have you identified core values? This is something that's helped me a lot in my life and in decision making in particular. So some of the ones that I consider my core values are freedom, no surprise there, beauty, creating beauty in the world, love, spreading love, and self-love as well. Self-expression, that's a big value of mine. I really value self-expression. No surprise there. I am an artist. But it's something I really admire in other people. Like when I see other people expressing their essence, and just sharing their inner treasures with the world, I just think that's awesome. Courage and connection. So those are some of my core values. So I like to hold up, does this path seem to align with more of the core values, or does this path align with more? Sometimes that helps give clarity. Anyway, that's about all I wanted to say on that. And yeah, I think that's good. I think this is it for today's check-in. So thank you for joining me. I will not be checking in tomorrow, I don't think. And I'm actually taking off for about 10 days because I will be away. I am going on a trip, a secret mission. Only a handful of people know where I'm going. So we're gonna take a little pause from the daily check-ins, but I will be cheering you on from afar, and I will check in when I get back. I think that's it. Yeah, I guess that's it for now. All right, thanks for joining me. Thanks for hanging out, and I wish you a wonderful rest of your day and your week, and I will talk to you again later.